The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Support The David Pakman Show free by doing all of your Amazon.com shopping through the black banner at davidpakman.com. Click it, bookmark it, use it every time you shop at Amazon. You can also become a David Pakman Show member, made possible in part by liberalbias.com. Liberalbias.com is the only website allowed at producer Lewis's Krakatoa metal band shows, other than the Krakatoa Facebook page, website, link, URL address, of course.
That's right. Also on YouTube.
Today's David Pakman Show new member of the day, Jose Ochoa Jr. Very glad to have him on board. Of course, membership is the #1 funding source for the David Pakman Show. You can find out more at davidpakman.com/membership. Lewis, how many memberships have you given away to friends and family at this point?
Like 250 million.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's almost one per person in the U.S.
Yeah, that's right.
Closing in.
I have a lot of friends and family.
Shocking.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't know that. Rush Limbaugh came up with an idea for Hurricane Isaac, and I'm using the term idea very, very loosely. He says, let's get rid of poor Democrats in Louisiana by building some levees out of money. Here's the audio from his radio program talking about this. Let's take a listen, Lewis.
First thing we do is offer to send 500 bus drivers to New Orleans, paid for by us, to make sure that the buses that were not used by the Democrat mayor during Hurricane Katrina will be used to evacuate people should it become necessary. The second thing that I think the Republicans ought to do is send bags of money instead of sand. Bags full of money to shore up the levees in New Orleans. This would accomplish many things. A, it would show our...
Okay, did we lose the audio there, Lewis?
Yes.
We did. Okay. So there's the Rush Limbaugh's idea. Let's send bags of money to shore up the levees. And what he goes on to say is he talks about how it would, he's very angry that CNN asked the Romney boys what it's like to be so rich. So somehow it would be connected to that in Rush Limbaugh's mind. And then he says the poor of New Orleans will storm the levees and steal the bags, thereby putting themselves at risk for the eventual flooding that will happen once they take the bags of money down. That way Republicans can get rid of even more Democrats in Louisiana and shore up the states for themselves. So again, Rush Limbaugh sometimes says he's a comedian. So like when he says something offensive like this, like for example, where lots of people actually did die because of the levees in Hurricane Katrina, let's get rid of more black Democrats by teasing them with bags of money from the Romney boys because they're so rich, so then they'll end up killing themselves because they're so stupid. They wouldn't realize that if you take the bags down, then the city will flood. When people are offended and they call Rush out on this, like when he said Sandra Fluke is a prostitute, whore, whatever, he says he's a comedian. He's doing comedy. The thing is, he never says anything that's funny. All of his jokes just aren't very funny. He's the least funny comedian I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he's only a comedian when it comes to things that offend people.
It's funny, yeah. He never is a comedian when it comes to things that make people laugh. It's anytime he's offended someone, he was doing comedy.
Yeah.
Of course he was doing comedy.
But there is some validity to what he's saying because personally, I've stopped being offended by anything he says.
You consider it comedy?
Pretty much. I mean, I think we've gotten to the point where, I mean, he says things strictly to offend.
But there's a difference, though, between finding Rush funny and what you are saying, which is you find Rush to be a parody of himself, which is very different than saying I think Rush is hilarious. I love how funny he is.
Yeah. Apparently he thinks he's pretty funny.
He does seem to.
Yeah.